let's talk Bitcoin. If you noticed, I didn't say let's talk crypto. I said let's talk Bitcoin. It's not that there aren't some commonalities between the two, but there are extremely stark differences. And while crypto in general, I'm not opposed to, I think there's some fantastic projects on crypto that are taking place on the blockchain. Um, Ethereum is, doing a ton for DeFi. It's really sort of like the place for developers, even though Solana is taking a little bit of that market share. The truth of the matter is, institutional interest still resides with Ethereum. Developer interest is still with Ethereum. Um, Ethereum it's going to be hard to dethrone Ethereum. Ethereum's sitting at the number 2 in terms of market cap for a reason. It's not just by chance, right? You don't get there unless something good is happening. Despite all the FUD and all the media attention that Ethereum is getting, we know that. So put that aside. Let's move back to the number 1 in market cap, and that is Bitcoin. And for those of you that aren't into Bitcoin or to crypto, this could be a really great way to sort of just warm your ears up to the idea, to this concept of what it is. What is this thing that's been around for 15, 16 years now? And what is it that you should know about it so that it could perhaps, not for everyone, this is not financial advice, perhaps play a role in your sort of like financial portfolio. And what I really want to talk about, and very briefly, is education about Bitcoin. Because I think that the reason the most people are not involved in Bitcoin is the fact that there's not enough education, that people have not taken the time to figure out what it means to hold some Bitcoin. They see the price tag, right? Whether it was 10,000, 60,000, or now 100,000, they see that and they get immediately spooked and say, well, wait a minute. That means I have to put 80% of my net worth, let's say, for example, into Bitcoin. Or they say, I don't even have $5,000 saved or $1,000 saved. I can't even participate. And so we've got to stop there. And we have to understand that that is not the case. You have to look at your investments from a percentages standpoint, not from a numbers standpoint, not from a volume standpoint, percentages. And that changes the whole game. When you start understanding that holding 1% of your available amount, available savings in Bitcoin means it's 1%. That means you allocate 1% of whatever you have. If it's 5% of your savings, then it's 5% of what you have. That can go into Bitcoin too. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You do not even have to buy a 10th of a Bitcoin. You don't even have to buy a 100th of a Bitcoin. When you understand that, you start perhaps looking at this as an opportunity to get involved in something that you should just get a taste of so that you can understand what the potentiality is for you. So let's say you have $1,000 put away. You have $1,000 and you say, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to put 5%. That's $50. You can right now go and buy $50 worth of Bitcoin. It doesn't matter that Bitcoin is 100,000 or that Bitcoin is at 200,000 or Bitcoin is at 60,000. The reason it doesn't matter, very simply, is that Bitcoin used to be 25 cents and Bitcoin will one day be 250 and Bitcoin will one day likely be $1 million plus. So you need to look at this from a perspective of that. If you go back into the days of Amazon, when Amazon used to be $5, early back in the start of Amazon, for example, when it first went public, and you said, I want to put, at $5, I want to put, I've got $100 to put towards Amazon. So you put $100 towards Amazon. What would that be worth for you today? You see, you didn't realize that one day, perhaps Amazon would be what it is and eventually climb all the way to $2,000 and $3,000 per share. This is the very same thing. However, the only difference between the two Well, the key difference is that Bitcoin is decentralized and is capped at a supply. It is not dependent on P&E. It is not based on company earnings. It is not based on company performance. It is based on global, the inevitable global collapse in financial debasement of financial systems that we can thank our governments for, right? I'll give you an example. I know a lot of people from Beirut that live in Beirut, live in Lebanon. During the golden era of the 90s into the 2000s, the bank had promised people 30 and 40% interest on their money, right? Now, shame on them for, shame on the banks for promising that, but really shame on you for thinking that a bank is going to pay you 30% on your money. Clearly, there was something really dirty going on there, right? And what ended up happening goes well into 2017 and 18, all the banks lost all the deposits, right? All of a sudden, the money just somehow vanished, disappeared, right? So if you had your money in a Lebanese bank, boom. But at the same time, hyperinflation kicked in. So not only did you lose your money, but you also lost whatever you did have, you lost the actual value. The debasement was so huge that if you had your money priced in Lebanese liras, if you had your assets or your money held in Lebanese paper liras, you were destroyed. You know, bread went 100x more expensive overnight. So had that money, had a percentage of that money been allocated into Bitcoin, those people would have been saved. They would have had their money priced, their liras, their money, their savings would have been priced in Bitcoin, not in Lebanese liras. And so just want you to have this as sort of like an introductory in case you're not into crypto or you haven't taken the time to study Bitcoin, and really give this some thought. And don't stop here. Go on, pick up the book by Saifedean Ammous, which is The Bitcoin Standard. It's a fantastic way to introduce yourself to money, to what banking system is, and gradually just pick up some more YouTube videos, start really digging into this stuff. I said something in the last video and it stands true. You have to get good at something worth getting good at. This could very well be the thing.